it's Madison over at the Ohio Pet Sanctuary. It's been a little bit since I've made one of our educational videos, but I did want to definitely make this one in particular. We have had a lot of questions about tapeworm lately. It's been really prevalent this year, especially in our cat population. So I just wanted to give people proper information about tapeworm and why it's so important to make sure that your cats are treated for it. And dogs. So there are a lot of different species of tapeworm, but the one in particular that I want to talk about is called Dipylidium caninum. It is a tapeworm that they get from eating fleas. So general rule of thumb is that if your cat has ever had fleas, it probably has tapeworm, even if it's never been treated for them. So the big thing with tapeworm is it has a hook on top of its head, commonly called a proboscis or just a hook, and then it's got a head called a scolex, and then a neck called a neck, and then a body/tail called a strobila. And the strobila is the big important part of the body that we're concerned about. So there are a couple of special things about the strobila. One is it's made up of these teeny tiny little bits of body segments called proglottids, and each proglottid is about the size of a grain of rice, and once it exits the body and it starts to dry or desiccate, it's really hard to identify, but some people will see the individual proglottids crawling across the feces. Not only does each one of these little grains of rice have its own musculature, but each one also has its own male and female organ. So each one of these potentially hundreds of body segments has a male and a female organ. So each one of those body segments can produce hundreds, if not thousands, of eggs. So I have a couple of samples here that I want to show you guys. Forgot my thumb forceps. So this is a tapeworm that we removed from a cat. And I just want you all to see how long this thing is. This came out of one cat. The thing dangling towards the bottom of it, that is the head end. I am holding it more towards the end of the strobila. So these little guys grow to be huge, considering the fact that they come from something so tiny as a flea. So once the proglottids are defecated out and they start to disintegrate, the flea larvae ingest the eggs that have already been fertilized and mature inside the flea. And then your pet eats the flea, dog or cat, doesn't matter. Actually, even humans can get this. If you get a flea infestation in your house bad enough that you have fleas jumping out of the carpet, say one jumps on your sandwich and you eat the sandwich, you can get this tapeworm. But the problem with tapeworms is that they ingest whatever the host ingests. So your cat eats whatever, I call it kibble or whatever you're feeding it, their body breaks it down, and then the tapeworm absorbs the nutrients through its tegument, through its skin. It'd be like you reaching out and touching your Thanksgiving turkey and absorbing that turkey through your skin. So they pull the nutrients away from the host and make those nutrients unavailable to the host. And now you have an animal that is eating and eating and eating, but not getting the nutrients that it needs. And there is a video that I want to show you guys. Hopefully I'll be able to splice this correctly. So there's a video I wanted to show you when I was working with a county facility of a puppy who ingested something he shouldn't have. I don't want to tell you what it is, because I don't want people feeding this to their dog on purpose, because it's not a good thing to feed your dog. And it scraped the intestinal lining and actually scraped out the tapeworm. So at the facility, we saw a segment here and there. We knew the puppy had tapeworm and we were treating it for tapeworm. But I want you to see just how bad this infection is.
That's worms. Just worms. That's not even tower numbers. That's worms. See her moving? They're wheeling. Holy crap. That's worms.
Here we splice. Okay, So as you can see, these tapeworm infestations can get really, really serious, and honestly, they can cause an animal to starve almost at a cellular level because they are taking the nutrients away from the host. Now, when it comes to treating, most dewormers do not treat tapeworm. General rule of thumb is if you have your animal on heartworm preventative prevents hookworms and roundworms as well. But those are completely different. So those are nematodes, those are roundworms. These are cestodes, these are flatworms. So they require a completely different type of drug. There are ones that are readily available over the counter. The most important thing is to check the ingredients and make sure the primary ingredient is praziquantel. That is the primary drug over the counter that you want to treat. Obviously, your prescription drugs are going to be a little bit better with what we use here. It's one injection and done. Every cat that comes into the rescue automatically gets treated for tapeworm because we don't know if it's ever had fleas, and we just want to make sure that the cat is healthy and safe. So we treat all of ours here. Be very careful with over-the-counter dewormers. One, if it doesn't list the ingredients, don't buy it. That is not a safe product to use. Two, if it says homeopathic on it, be very, very wary. Homeopathic dewormers are typically very, very diluted variations of a plant called arsenicum, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a source of arsenic. And if that medication, quote unquote, was improperly prepared, you can cause arsenic poisoning in your pets. So again, just be very careful of what you purchase over the counter. Again, tapeworm is a very prevalent problem, and we get a lot of people who ask, can my cat who has tapeworm give it to my other cat who has tapeworm? No. You can feed that whole tapeworm to your other cat, and your other cat won't get it. It has to go through that intermediate host. It has to go through that flea. Now, there are other species of tapeworm that come from prey animals, like eating rabbits or shrews and stuff like that in your backyard. But we don't see those as often here at the rescue, especially because most of the animals that we deal with are indoor only. Dogs, though, dogs like to eat things in the backyard they're not supposed to. So they very frequently can get tapeworm from eating decaying animal in the backyard and things like that. But just a few things that I wanted you guys to be aware of, and some things to think about. Don't think that just because your cat had a standard dewormer or your puppy had a standard dewormer that it has treated all of the worms, and tapeworm is one of those ones that likes to sneak in a little bit under the radar. But I hope this was helpful, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at mailbox@ohiopetsanctuary.com. Thank you.